A woman's heart is not just a source of emotion, it is a source of transformation. It carries the strength to heal others, the patience to nurture dreams, and the wisdom to guide generations. Yet, in a world that often measures success by loudness, the gentle power of a woman's heart remains the quietest revolution ever known. This speech is not about gender, it's about gratitude. For every mother who stayed strong, every daughter who dared, every sister who believed, and every woman who led with love when others led with fear. Empathy is her superpower. It is the silent force that turns pain into understanding and suffering into strength. A woman's heart has the incredible ability to feel not only for herself, but for everyone around her. When someone is hurting, she doesn't just hear their words, she feels their emotions. She sees beyond the surface, sensing what others hide behind their smiles. Her empathy allows her to hold space for others, to comfort without judging, to love without demanding, and to forgive without expecting an apology. This kind of empathy is not weakness. It is emotional intelligence at its highest form. It is the reason she becomes the anchor in storms, the listener in chaos, and the light in moments of darkness. She may not always wear a crown, but she rules with understanding. When a child cries, her heart aches. When a friend struggles, she stays up late offering comfort. When the world grows cold, she becomes warmth itself. Empathy makes her a healer, not just of wounds that can be seen, but of hearts that have forgotten how to feel. It gives her the strength to rise even when life feels unfair, because she knows her purpose goes beyond herself. Her sensitivity becomes her strength, her compassion becomes her power. The world may often tell her to toughen up, to stop caring so much, but what the world forgets is that it is her caring nature that keeps humanity alive. A woman's empathy teaches us that the greatest form of strength is not in domination, but in understanding, not in fighting to be heard, but in listening deeply, not in proving power, but in feeling the pain of others and choosing love anyway. Her heart beats not just for herself, it beats for everyone she holds dear, and that is her real superpower. Courage in compassion, that is the rare kind of bravery that doesn't roar, but whispers, "I will still be kind." A woman's courage is not always seen in grand gestures or loud victories. It often shines in the quiet moments when she chooses love over anger, peace over pride, and forgiveness over resentment. The world often misunderstands compassion as softness, but it takes tremendous strength to stay kind in a world that can be cruel. It takes courage to keep your heart open when it has been broken. A woman's compassion is born from her ability to feel deeply and still act with grace. When life tests her with disappointment, she doesn't harden, she becomes wiser. When someone hurts her, she doesn't seek revenge, she seeks understanding. She realizes that holding on to hate only makes her heavier, and she learns to let go with dignity. That is courage, the courage to rise above bitterness and choose healing. There are countless times when she has been underestimated, overlooked, or taken for granted. Yet she keeps showing up. She keeps giving, nurturing, and believing, not because it's easy, but because her heart refuses to stop caring. Her compassion does not make her fragile, it makes her unstoppable. The strength of her character is not in how loud she can shout, but in how deeply she can love even when the world gives her every reason not to. Courage in compassion means standing firm in kindness, even when others call it weakness. It means speaking the truth with gentleness and leading with empathy, even when power demands pride. A woman's compassion is not passive, it is an active force that transforms. It softens anger, heals wounds, and inspires others to act with humanity. Every time she forgives, she rewrites her pain into wisdom. Every time she helps another soul, she plants seeds of hope in a world that desperately needs it. Her compassion becomes her courage because it takes immense strength to keep believing in goodness while carrying the scars of 1,000 disappointments. A woman's heart proves that courage doesn't always wear armor. Sometimes it wears a smile. It doesn't always fight battles. Sometimes it simply chooses to love when hate would be easier. And in that choice, she becomes the bravest warrior of all. Grace under pressure, that is the quiet strength of a woman who stands tall even when the world around her is falling apart. It's the way she smiles when her heart is aching, the way she holds things together when everything seems to be slipping away. Grace is not about being perfect, it's about being peaceful in the middle of imperfection. When life becomes heavy, she doesn't let the weight crush her. She learns how to carry it with dignity. Her calm presence becomes her power. Her patience becomes her weapon, and her faith becomes her shield. A woman's grace under pressure is not born overnight. It is shaped by countless moments of endurance, heartbreak, and resilience. She has cried silently and still walked out with her head held high. She has faced storms that others couldn't even imagine. Yet she emerged not bitter but brighter. Her strength is not in never breaking, it is in breaking beautifully and rebuilding herself every time. When life pushes her to the edge, she doesn't fall. She learns how to fly with her wounds. There are times when she has had to smile through pain, stay silent when she deserved to speak, and keep giving when her heart was tired. But her grace does not mean she feels nothing. It means she chooses to respond with wisdom instead of reaction. It means she understands that peace is more powerful than anger, and composure is a sign of true control. Her grace isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's emotional strength wrapped in gentleness. She may not always be loud, but her silence has power. She may not always be noticed, but her impact is undeniable. When people see her calm, they rarely know the storms she's endured inside, but she knows, and that self-awareness gives her a quiet confidence that no chaos can destroy. Grace under pressure is her ability to remain soft without losing her strength, to stay kind without being naive, and to stand firm without being harsh. Even in her darkest moments, she carries light. Even when her heart trembles, she chooses steadiness. She is not graceful because life is easy for her. She is graceful because she has learned to dance with difficulty. Every challenge teaches her patience. Every heartbreak deepens her understanding, and every setback polishes her soul. Her grace is the poetry of her power. It moves gently, but it changes everything it touches. And when the world finally notices her, it isn't because she shouted the loudest. It's because she stood with a stillness that made strength look beautiful. Love that leads. It is the kind of love that does not demand attention, yet transforms everything it touches. A woman's love has a way of guiding without controlling, healing without asking for praise, and inspiring without ever saying a word. Her leadership is not loud, it's lived. It's in the way she listens when others talk over each other, in the way she brings peace where there was once tension, and in the way she makes people feel valued just by being around her. She doesn't command hearts, she connects them. She doesn't chase respect, she earns it through the quiet consistency of her love. When a woman leads with love, she becomes the soul of every place she belongs to, her home, her workplace, her community. She knows that real influence doesn't come from authority, but from authenticity. She doesn't try to impress, she tries to impact. Her words carry kindness, her actions carry integrity, and her heart carries understanding. She knows that leadership is not about being above others, it's about being among them, walking beside, uplifting, and believing in people when they've forgotten to believe in themselves. Love that leads means loving with purpose. It's love that corrects gently, protects fiercely, and nurtures endlessly. It's the love of a mother who sacrifices her comfort for her child's dreams. The love of a friend who reminds you of your worth when you've forgotten it. The love of a woman who stands by others, not because it's easy, but because she believes in their potential. Her leadership through love brings out the best in others because she sees beyond flaws. She sees possibilities. Her love leads not through dominance but through example. When she faces obstacles, she teaches strength through patience. When she forgives, she teaches humility through grace. When she serves others, she teaches that true power lies not in being served, but in serving with a full heart. Her kind of love never seeks to be above anyone. It seeks to lift everyone. It's the kind of leadership that doesn't just change circumstances, it changes souls. Many mistake love for weakness, but her love is fierce. It's love that stands up for what's right, that refuses to be silent in the face of injustice, that speaks truth even when her voice trembles. Her heart leads not because it's unscarred, but because it has survived and learned. She leads with empathy, not ego, with vision, not vanity. And that's why people follow her, not out of fear, but out of faith. Her love inspires others to love better, to work harder, to forgive faster, and to live deeper. In every relationship, every conversation, every act of kindness, her love leaves fingerprints that time cannot erase. It's the love that teaches, guides, and uplifts. The kind of love that turns ordinary moments into lifelong memories. So when a woman leads with love, she changes the rhythm of the world around her. She builds bridges where walls once stood, brings light where there was darkness, and reminds everyone that the strongest force on earth is not control, it's care. Her love doesn't need recognition. Its impact speaks louder than applause ever could. It is steady, it is selfless, and it is powerful beyond measure because her love doesn't just lead others, it leads humanity forward. Strength in silence, it is the kind of strength that doesn't seek validation, doesn't need to be seen, and doesn't ask for applause. It's the kind of power that exists in stillness, in the quiet resolve of a woman who endures, understands, and rises without making noise. Her silence is not emptiness, it's full of meaning, full of lessons, full of battles fought privately and victories earned quietly. She doesn't need to prove herself to the world because she knows who she is when no one is watching. Her silence is her sanctuary, a sacred space where she gathers her thoughts, heals her wounds, and prepares her spirit to face whatever life brings next. When life gets heavy and voices around her grow loud, she withdraws not because she's weak, but because she knows power is found in peace, not in noise. She chooses silence because she understands that words lose meaning when spoken in anger, and that true wisdom is often born in reflection, not reaction. People may mistake her calm for indifference, but what they don't see is the storm she has learned to master within. Every time she stays silent when she could have shouted, she shows maturity. Every time she chooses patience when provoked, she shows strength. And every time she walks away from chaos instead of feeding it, she shows courage beyond words. Her silence carries stories of nights spent crying alone, of dreams deferred, of strength tested. Yet she holds her pain with grace. She doesn't need to announce her struggles because she has learned that healing happens in stillness. She has discovered that not every battle needs an audience, and not every truth needs to be spoken to be understood. Her silence teaches her self-control, discipline, and emotional depth. It allows her to listen deeply, not just to others, but to herself. There's a rare kind of power in the woman who can sit in silence and still feel whole. She knows that she doesn't need noise to feel alive or attention to feel valued. She understands that peace is the loudest declaration of strength. While others waste energy proving a point, she channels hers into becoming better, wiser, softer. Her silence becomes her mirror, reflecting not her fear, but her focus. It's in her quiet moments that she finds clarity, that she reconnects with her purpose, and that she hears the whispers of her own soul guiding her forward. Her silence can heal, but it can also protect. It shields her from negativity, from misunderstandings, from the chaos of a world that confuses volume with value. She chooses when to speak and when to stay still, and that choice itself is her empowerment. She doesn't need to argue to be right. Her truth stands firm even in quiet. She doesn't need to shout to be heard. Her energy speaks for her. People may underestimate her silence, but they will always remember the peace she brings. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about her silence is that it doesn't mean surrender. It means strength under control. It means she knows her worth so deeply that she doesn't need to defend it. It means she understands that silence is not the absence of power, but the presence of wisdom. Her strength in silence reminds us all that sometimes the most powerful message a person can give is not through words, but through the grace of simply being calm, steady, and unshaken. Wisdom through wounds. It is the kind of wisdom that cannot be taught in books or spoken in lectures. It is earned through pain, through endurance, through experiences that break a person and then remake them stronger, softer, and wiser than before. A woman's wisdom often comes wrapped in the quiet stories of her struggles. Every scar she carries holds a lesson, every heartbreak hides a truth, and every disappointment becomes a teacher. She has learned that pain is not her enemy, it is her sculptor. It shapes her into someone more understanding, more compassionate, and more resilient. Her wounds have not weakened her, they have deepened her. She knows what it means to be broken, to feel lost, to question her worth, and because she has been there, she now knows how to help others rise from the same darkness. Her wisdom doesn't come from always winning, but from learning through loss. It comes from the nights when she cried herself to sleep and still got up the next morning to face the world with a brave smile. It comes from the times when she trusted and was betrayed, yet chose to keep her heart open. Her pain taught her discernment. Her failures taught her humility, and her tears taught her empathy. There's something extraordinary about a woman who has suffered and still chooses to love, who has fallen and still chooses to believe, who has been silenced and still chooses to speak truth. That kind of wisdom cannot be imitated. It can only be lived. She understands now that life will not always be kind, but it will always be meaningful. Every heartbreak is a lesson in letting go, every betrayal a reminder of boundaries, every loss a whisper from destiny saying, grow. Her wounds have become windows. Through them, she sees life more clearly, more gently, and more truthfully. She no longer seeks perfection because her scars have shown her the beauty of imperfection. She no longer fears pain because she has seen what lies beyond it: growth, understanding, and purpose. Her wounds have given her the rare gift of perspective. She no longer asks, "Why me?" but rather, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question turns her pain into power. It transforms her wounds into wisdom. People often see her strength and think she has had an easy journey, but only she knows the price she paid for her peace. Only she knows how many times she had to rebuild herself from nothing, how many times she had to forgive herself for breaking, and how many times she had to start over when it felt impossible. Yet, in every season of pain, she found meaning. In every wound, she found wisdom. And so, her heart carries both tenderness and toughness. She has learned to love without losing herself, to hope without expecting perfection, and to walk away without bitterness. Her wounds did not make her cold, they made her conscious. She no longer hides her scars, she honors them, for they are proof that she survived, that she grew, and that she learned. The wisdom that flows from her now is not loud or boastful. It's gentle, patient, and timeless. It speaks through her eyes, through her choices, through her calm presence. She doesn't need to explain herself anymore, because her life itself is her message. And that message is powerful. Pain is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of wisdom. Balance of heart and mind. It is one of the most beautiful and rare qualities that a woman possesses. The ability to feel deeply yet think clearly, to care intensely yet act wisely. This balance is what gives her both strength and serenity. She has a heart that loves without limits and a mind that knows when to let go. She listens to her emotions, but she is not ruled by them. She allows herself to feel every joy and every pain, yet she knows when to step back, breathe, and respond with wisdom instead of impulse. It is this harmony between emotion that makes her powerful in a way that is calm, centered, and graceful. A woman learns this balance through experience, through moments when her heart wanted one thing, but life demanded another. She has faced choices where love and logic stood at war, and she learned that true wisdom lies not in choosing one over the other, but in letting them work together. Her heart gives her empathy, kindness, and compassion. Her mind gives her discernment, judgment, and direction. When they move in unison, she becomes unstoppable, a woman who can love without losing herself, care without being consumed, and give without being drained. There are times when her emotions try to overpower her reason, when disappointment tempts her to give up, or when love tempts her to hold on too long. But through reflection and resilience, she finds her equilibrium again. She realizes that feeling deeply is not a flaw, it's her gift. The key is not to silence her emotions, but to guide them. Her heart allows her to connect with others, to nurture, to understand. Her mind allows her to protect herself, to prioritize, to stay true to her values. Together, they make her whole. This balance is what helps her remain composed in chaos. When others panic, she pauses. When emotions rise, she listens, not just to her heart, but also to her inner wisdom. She knows that kindness without boundaries can lead to pain, and logic without compassion can lead to coldness. So she blends both. She can forgive, but not forget what she learned. She can love, but not lose herself in that love. She can dream, but she grounds those dreams in reality. That is the strength of her balance. It keeps her both soft and strong, emotional yet wise. This harmony makes her a natural leader, a healer, and a guide. People come to her not just because she understands their feelings, but because she helps them see clearly through those feelings. She doesn't react to situations, she responds to them. She doesn't allow anger to control her speech or fear to control her steps. Her calm presence has the power to dissolve tension because she has mastered the art of being both tender and tough, both passionate and practical. Her balance also teaches her self-respect. She knows when to give and when to step back. She knows that saying no doesn't make her heartless, and saying yes doesn't make her weak. She knows that protecting her peace is an act of love too, for herself and for others. She has learned that emotional strength doesn't mean never crying. It means crying and then rising stronger. It doesn't mean never feeling pain. It means feeling it, learning from it, and letting it refine her, not define her. Her life becomes a dance between heart and mind, each step guided by both compassion and clarity. Her emotions bring color to her logic, and her logic brings direction to her emotions. This balance gives her the ability to face the world with kindness without being taken advantage of, to dream boldly without being blinded by illusions, to love freely without losing her peace. And in that beautiful balance lies her quiet power. She is not torn between what she feels and what she knows. She is guided by both. Her heart gives her the courage to try, and her mind gives her the wisdom to know when to move on. She embodies a truth the world often forgets, that real strength is not choosing between emotion and reason, but allowing both to coexist in harmony. She is the living proof that softness and strength are not opposites, but partners in the art of becoming whole. Faith that fuels. It is the invisible fire that keeps a woman moving even when everything around her seems to fall apart. It is the quiet conviction deep in her soul that whispers, "Keep going," when her body is tired and her heart is heavy. Faith is not just her belief in something greater. It is her trust that no matter how dark the night, the sun will rise again. Her faith gives her the strength to take one more step when logic tells her to stop, to believe in miracles even when she can't see them, and to smile in the middle of her storms, because she knows they won't last forever. A woman's faith is often tested in the fire, through heartbreak, through loss, through the moments when life doesn't make sense. But instead of letting pain destroy her, she lets it deepen her. She learns that faith is not about having all the answers, it's about holding on when there are none. When the world doubts her, she believes. When the path disappears, she keeps walking. When her prayers seem unanswered, she still lifts her hands and says, I trust. That is her power, a heart that refuses to give up even when it trembles. Her faith is not blind, it is built. It has been shaped by trials and strengthened by tears. She has learned to see purpose in pain, to find peace in uncertainty, and to discover blessings in what once broke her. She doesn't need to see the full picture. She trusts the process. She knows that even closed doors are forms of protection, and delays are often divine redirections. Her faith teaches her that everything happens for her growth, not her punishment. So she carries hope like a torch through her darkest valleys, knowing that even in silence, she is being guided. Faith for her is not just spiritual, it is practical. It fuels her work, her relationships, her dreams. It reminds her that what she does today matters, even if results don't show right away. Her faith keeps her humble when she succeeds and hopeful when she fails. It grounds her when life becomes overwhelming and lifts her when she feels unseen. It reminds her that strength doesn't come from control, but from surrender, from trusting that what is meant for her will never miss her, and what is not will never stay. There are moments when she cries out in frustration, moments when she questions, moments when she feels alone, but even then, her faith holds her steady. It may flicker, but it never goes out. She finds divine lessons in the smallest moments, in a stranger's kindness, in a sunrise after a long night, in a coincidence that feels too perfect to be random. She understands that faith doesn't remove the storm, it gives her the courage to walk through it. It doesn't erase fear, it gives her the strength to face it. Her faith teaches her to bloom where she is planted, to see beauty in brokenness, and to trust timing more than plans. It gives her the patience to wait and the perseverance to continue. When others see only endings, she sees new beginnings taking shape. Her faith is not loud, it's steady. It's in her smile after heartbreak, in her hope after disappointment, and in her peace after chaos. This faith becomes her anchor and her wings. It keeps her grounded and lifts her higher at the same time. It fuels her passion, her purpose, and her persistence. It makes her unshakable because she knows that her power does not come from circumstance, but from conviction. Even when everything else fails, her faith remains pure, unbreakable, and alive. And through that faith, she becomes a light for others. People look at her and see someone who has been through storms but still carries sunshine in her eyes. They feel her energy, her calm, her quiet confidence, and they are reminded that there is always hope. Her faith is not just something she holds, it is something she lives. It is the force that carries her from fear to freedom, from pain to purpose, from doubt to destiny. It is her fire, the fire that never dies, no matter how strong the wind blows. Unity and uplift. It is the spirit within a woman that believes strength multiplies when shared, that one woman's success does not diminish another's, but instead lights the path for her. A woman's heart understands that the world grows brighter when women rise together, when they celebrate instead of compete, when they choose to empower instead of envy. True unity is not just about standing side by side, it's about lifting one another up when one falls, cheering when one wins, and holding space when one is healing. This kind of sisterhood is sacred, and a woman who lives by it becomes a force of change far greater than she could ever be alone. She knows that there is no beauty in comparison and no victory in isolation. She has seen how the world tries to pit women against each other, comparing their looks, their roles, their achievements, and she chooses not to play that game. Instead, she reaches out a hand saying, "Let's grow together." Her heart doesn't see competition, it sees collaboration. She knows that another woman's light doesn't dim hers. It helps both of them shine brighter. Her strength is not in standing above others, but in standing with them. Unity for her begins in kindness, in how she speaks about other women, in how she encourages instead of criticizes, in how she celebrates even the small wins of those around her. She knows that true empowerment begins with empathy. When she uplifts another, she doesn't just raise that one person, she raises generations. Because every time a woman stands tall, she unconsciously gives permission for others to do the same. Every time she says, "You can," she becomes part of another woman's victory story. Her heart finds joy in helping others rise. When she mentors, she nurtures not only skills but confidence. When she listens, she heals insecurities. When she shares her story, she turns her past pain into someone else's hope. She understands that giving power doesn't mean losing it, it means multiplying it. She doesn't just climb the ladder, she builds another beside her. She doesn't just open doors, she holds them open for those who follow. That is her greatness, not just her personal success, but her contribution to the success of others. She believes in community over competition, compassion over comparison, and progress over pride. She sees potential where others see flaws. She uplifts with her words, her presence, and her belief that every woman has something valuable to offer the world. When she sees another woman struggling, she doesn't judge, she supports. When she sees another achieving, she doesn't envy, she applauds. She knows that lifting others does not take away from her, it fulfills her. Her unity extends beyond friendship. It is a mindset, a way of living. She knows that collective growth is the foundation of a better world. Whether she's a mother, a teacher, a leader, or a friend, she builds networks of encouragement, places of belonging, and communities of strength. Her love for unity transforms environments. Workplaces become more humane, families more connected, and societies more compassionate. She leads by example, proving that togetherness is not weakness. It is the greatest form of resilience. And when women unite in this way, something magical happens. Barriers begin to break, generations begin to heal. Dreams that once seemed impossible start to take shape because there are hands holding each other through the climb. She knows that when one woman rises, it is not just her, it is every woman who came before her and every girl who will come after her. Her rise becomes a ripple of hope that spreads far beyond her own life. Her legacy is not measured by titles or trophies, but by the number of hearts she has lifted. The world may remember her name, but more importantly, they will remember how she made others feel capable, loved, and seen. That is unity and uplift, a quiet revolution of compassion that begins in one woman's heart and changes the rhythm of the entire world.